Mercedes-Benz Sports Weekend is presented by the 2017 E-Class, the masterpiece of intelligence. Visit your Bay Area Mercedes-Benz dealers today.
He was a pioneer in his field. Emmett Ashford, the first African-American umpire in the major leagues, is the subject of a documentary by Bay Area filmmaker Doug Harris. Harris will join us to talk about his latest project. It's the Mercedes-Benz Sports Weekend. Next. You
are a Bay Area sports fan.
I want to be like Steph Curry.
The best fans around deserve the best coverage in town. Mark, Joe, Jason, and Scott. Award-winning sports coverage on Fox 2. Bay Area fans, here's to you.
All right, and we're going to get a history lesson from a local producer and filmmaker, Doug Harris. The first African-American umpire, Emmett Ashford, who did it with a flair like nobody else. We're coming back on the Mercedes-Benz Sports Weekend next. I'm kind of excited about this. Baseball, man, it's #1 for me. And growing up in the 60s and 70s and seeing Emmett Ashford behind the plate or anywhere as an umpire, he just had a certain flavor for the game and a feel for it, showmanship. And we're going to introduce you to Doug Harris, who's putting together a documentary on the man's life. We'll talk about it when we return. Next on the Mercedes-Benz Sports Weekend.
And the man 49er fans consider the best owner in team history was recognized in a Hall of Fame ceremony at his old high school.
Wow.
Edward DeBartolo Jr. returns to the gym at Cardinal Mooney High in Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, Emmett Ashford was a flamboyant sort. I mean, he brought in the new moves to calling a man out on strikes or safer out. And he was unlike the standard umpire.
Well, if there's anybody who can talk about baseball history, it's Dick Enberg. Another guy who can talk about baseball history is the guy who's joining us today, and that is Bay Area filmmaker Doug Harris, who's done documentaries on other subjects, but your latest is the first African-American umpire in baseball, Emmett Ashford.
Yeah, welcome, Doug.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of some of your work, and had you not known you were watching a Doug Harris production, I could mention a couple to you. Glenn Burke, you did the story about the former Dodger and A's outfielder, Glenn Burke, called Out, which many people might have seen, the Don Barksdale story, Pete Newell, and now Emmett Ashford. So what led you to the Emmett Ashford story? And I personally don't recall any lengthy film about an umpire. Is this the first?
As far as I know, this is the first time anyone's produced a documentary film about an umpire or any type of official. And I thought that this would really be an interesting look to find out what went into the progression of the first African-American decision maker in professional sports.
Well, he was at a time when the American League was separate from the National League in terms of its umpires and the sanctioning bodies. He came up in the mid-'60s. What kind of obstacles did he face? I know he started out trying to play baseball, then evolved into an umpire. He was a basketball ref, a football ref, but what got him into the major leagues originally?
Well, Emmett Ashford's story really evolves around how he got trapped in the Pacific Coast League for 12 long years. You know, a lot of people had anticipated that Emmett Ashford would be called up to the major leagues a lot sooner than he did, but he struggled. And he was just a phenomenal umpire, but he just didn't get that break until 1965 when he signed the contract.
And here he is. We're going to show some video of him calling an Oakland Oaks game. And if you know anything about Emmett Ashford, tell me a little bit about his flamboyant style. Because
interesting things about the documentary is when I met with Rick Monday and interviewed him, and Rick really gave a nice snapshot photo of how flamboyant Emmett Ashford was. Emmett Ashford was an umpire that came to the game with cufflinks. So when he would call you out, you know, the cufflinks would gleam, they would gleam in on you. You know, he was a sharp dresser. He was really a Renaissance man on and off the field. And so Emmett Ashford was one of those special people in American sports history.
And then the thing that I find interesting is that the Oakland A's came here in 1968, and for their very first game at the Oakland Coliseum, Charlie Finley requested that Emmett Ashford umpire that game?
Yeah, people don't realize Charlie was in the forefront of a lot of movements like that.
Well, you know, Charlie O'Finley was a flamboyant owner
Showman.
in his own right, and he was a showman. And so Emmett Ashford, for him to have Emmett Ashford umpire the very first game at the Oakland Coliseum was very significant for Bay Area sports in and of itself.
Well, I guess the obvious thing that we want to ask is the documentary's in process right now. When can people see it? Where can they see it?
And how can they see it? We got some work to do, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. We're really, I would say, maybe close to the middle of having this film done, and we're working very hard to secure our interviews, our remaining interviews with some of the most celebrated stars in all of baseball history. And I'm talking about the Frank Robinsons, I'm talking about the Hank Aaron's, I'm talking about the Rod Carews, people that actually played baseball under Emmett Ashford's watch.
Well, look, Joe and I are huge baseball fans. We appreciate the history. We grew up loving the game. And I think this is a real important piece of work to get done for people to know. The millennials need to know about a guy like this. So DougHarrisMedia.com if you want to get involved in the project in any way to help this get done. Right?
Well, we're looking forward to this documentary being done at some point by the time the next baseball season starts.
Doug, really appreciate
Thanks,
your
Doug.
time, and man, we'll be right with you step by step as you make this happen with Emmett Ashford.
Hey, well, thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming, Doug.
DougHarrisMedia.com again, and I had a little experience earlier in the week. I had a chance to get up in Napa's beautiful Silverado Country Club, and Steph Curry. Yeah, he can shoot a three. He doesn't like the three putt, but he can shoot them from beyond the bunker. We'll tell you about Steph's week of golf when we come back.